Welcome back, everyone, to the Wolf's Den. Welcome back to the 2025 Battle of the Bull. It is now last 16 action, and it's a sweet last 16 as well, let me tell you. It's to take on 17-year-old fellow countryman Felix Vogel, who's been one of the stories of the tournament, Scott Frost.
Yeah, he's been really one of the stories of the last year. We recognized him, I think, 2 years ago in Saudi Arabia when he won the juniors over there. From there, he's just continued to grow and mature. Speaking of mature, at 17 years old, you'd think he's 30. He just acts like one of the guys.
Yeah, won in Saudi, as you said, and he also won this year's Jason Shaw Junior Open at the UK Open. So now he's transitioning to the main events with seamless smoothness.
Yeah, without question. And I think it's the best move in the world, right? Never too early at his level to play with the big boys. He can definitely play with them. I think the key here is just to knock this down. It's the first shot, sets the tone.
Yeah, Vogel's been the man in form, but Neuhausen never, ever discount him. He's got a very professional approach. Plenty of success here in the United States. And he's had some good wins here. Beat John Moran 9-4 in his second match. He was knocked back a little, losing 9-4 too long. Top the end. But he bounced back, beating Januata, as I said. And he's coming off a 9-5 win over Austria's Mario He.
Yeah, there's another player, Mario He, who I consistently think is going to do something big, and still waiting on him. I know he's got the talent. First I saw of Moritz was, Phil will probably tell me this, I think it was two and a half years ago, ranking event at Jason Shaw's pool room, and Moritz won it. It's literally the first I saw of him. I was watching it from, and actually it's probably over 3 years ago, Phil. I was watching from my living room.
Well, you're right, first time. It was the 2023 Connecticut Open.
Okay. Yeah, and I was really impressed with his game there, and then obviously he comes through and wins the PLP not long ago in Bosnia.
Well, anyone who can beat Francisco Sanchez Ruiz 7-0 in the final with a chunk of change on the line must be good.
No, and I think you said it best. He's really taking it serious. He's a professional. He's a gentleman. Takes his job seriously, and I think he has told me that he's really focused on all the majors this year.
Yes, he's one in a very lengthy line of players who could make big waves in Atlantic City next week. Mind you, with Hurricane Erin coming up the coastline, well, not hitting America apparently according to the forecast, but I reckon there might be quite large surf. Could be interesting out of your hotel window in AC to see the waves barreling in.
Yeah, it's a beautiful view out of the room up there. Ooh, he squeaked it into the bottom side, Phil.
Surprising scoreline, but time to recover.
Oh, short with the one to the side, then got the kiss on the cue ball. Yeah, got a bad kiss to the side, but he was going to be dry regardless, and I think young Felix Vogel was going to have a look on the one regardless.
When I arrived here on Thursday, he was one of the first players I saw walking down the line of the tables. I noticed he was in front against Carlo Biardo in his opening match. He was 7-6 up, and the way he won the last two racks was so impressive. It was as though he didn't know who Biardo was. Of course he does, but But he wasn't fazed by reputation in the slightest.
Tell you what, he's rubbing shoulders with some guys that will only pick you up as well. Sanjin Pelivanovic, Kledio Kachi, obviously Yap, several others. They're all behind him, kind of supporting him, and I think that it's a pretty good support group, if you ask me.
Most certainly, yeah. He beat Biardo 9-6. Biardo actually clapped him off the table before they shook hands. Then he overcame Landon Hollingsworth 9-1. He edged Lucas Fragasso Werner 9-8. And most recently, to get here, he beat Wong Nam Pham of Vietnam 9-6.
Yeah, we can see here he's definitely fallen flatter than he'd liked. He's trying to pinch back a little bit. Just got the distance here. Now he's got to pinch back for sure. This takes a good stroke. You do not want to catch the inside of the pocket here. Oh my. Wow. Good signs.
He's had a good year. Quarter-finalist in the Italian Open and the Austrian Open. And more recently on the World Nineball Tour, he was a semi-finalist in the rally in Shenandoah Valley.
This has gotten away from him a bit. Yeah, quite a bit. The long rail sprung on him just a little. Is he looking to clip this with an inside ball here, coming 2 rails out of the top right? Yeah, I think he's got to. I don't know if he can get in front of the... Might check it to the right long rail, then top rail. It's thin, Phil.
Sharp. Youthful eyes, of course, helps. But not enough. That didn't really threaten.
Yeah, and I think a little bit of that inside was part of the problem, right? It's going to turn the 6 upward just a bit, maybe. Just floating forward here on the 9. Oh, this is overrun. This is an error. Thought he was a little quick on that. He just got down real fast. Moritz, a quick player, does all the work from up top. Once he's down on the ball, kind of like Pius Labutis, lets it go rather quickly.
Seemed to be a little off balance there on that one, and he certainly made a mess of it.
Yeah, Felix has probably missed more balls in this rack than he has the rest of the afternoon. Or morning, I should say.
That last match in the last 32 has gone hill-hill. Matakainen and Van Leeuwen.
Yeah, watch out. You don't want this to get funny.
And he just toppled over enough to be very unfunny in a ha-ha sense for Neuhausen.
Yeah, he might have to flick this rail first and try and just nudge it in behind the 8. I don't think the carom is on by any means. It's a thin hit here. Catch it too thick and let him see a piece. I think he can. And that can prove costly because the 9's a big ball down there. If he can just chip this past the 8. Now, I don't know if he can even see it, so I might be getting ahead of myself here. That's what he's looking at, though. It's a real thin hit, so you really want to focus on the cue ball, getting back down here behind the 9. Is he entertaining the 7 off the 8? I don't think you can get enough into that. Tell you what, I wouldn't be opposed to kicking to this bottom rail. 7's in a big ball position. With the 8 being there, funny things can happen if you don't make it. But if you're thin in the 7 here, you've got to get behind the 9. It's going to Z the cue ball most likely. Looks like he's playing the 8 to the upper right. Yeah, he's keying up to make the 8 maybe? Wow.
This is going to sound as though it's cliched, but that was the shot of a 16-year-old. A 17-year-old. It was a little too exuberant for his own good, I think.
Yeah, if you're just tuning in, you're probably getting a bad representation of Felix Vogel. He's very mature at the table, but like Phil just said, he is still 17.
Yeah, and he's not going to be the finished article at that age, of course. He's a terrific player. He's still got something to learn, and that's why he's playing in all of these tournaments, gaining invaluable experience, much like Albert Gianamata this morning. 8-7 up, he had the chance to put Moritz Neuhausen in a world of hurt behind the 9-ball, actually. But he's a little stunning behind the 9, wasn't quite as accurate as he should have been. He left Neuhausen a 1 cushion escape. And Moritz gratefully won that rack and the next as well to win 9-8. So that's the thing. It's not a whole succession of shots that the youngsters fail on. It's just the odd one here and there, isn't it?
Yeah, without a doubt. And this is just odd. We'll have an odd game here or there where it's just find a funny position. And it started with the 8 rolling up on the 7 after Moritz cut the 6. Now here we are after a couple of innings. This is more straightforward. He's looking to shave this into the upper left.
And let me tell you, he's got a very good potting eye. He's let me down there. Missed the ball altogether on the way up. This is a scratchy rack.
Yes, it is. Very, very scrappy. It's a little off, but just how the 7 continues to finish. It's not how either one of these two wanted to start, I can assure you. Sometimes this stuff will set the tone for a few games. Is he going down behind the 9 here? He's got to play the 7, doesn't he? No, he is. Wow, that's pretty good touch, knowing that he's coming off this long rail into the back of the 9. What touch. Yeah, and this is kind of no man's land here. You really need something good to happen. I don't know that you want to roll this. We use the word fram, or I do. I think that it's just kind of a real high pace, and that's what he's done. Oh, and it's missed the 9. So once again, Phil, very awkward. He's probably going to be planted behind the 9 here, but still, how many innings have we had on the Maroon 7?
The balls are conspiring against them both in many respects. That was a good slice of fortune for Vogel. Mind you, he did make the hit, so I suppose he deserved it.
Yeah, do you try to get the 7 all the way up table here, or do you just wedge him? See, this was my concern. You're trying to get the 7 all the way up table, but it was a little more natural just to use the outside ball. Leave the 7 just up past the spot. The 9 becomes much bigger that way.
And racks like this are just as important as those where you break off and run out in a minute and a half. In fact, psychologically, they're arguably more important.
Well, there's the potting ability. He's forgotten all the mistakes prior. Smoked that one into the upper left. That's what makes a great player, Phil.
Yes, and technically he's also very solid. Very little movement on the shots. Well, it looks as though the youngster they call the Birdman is about to wing his way to 1-1. And there'll be plenty of chirping in the pool world if he were to win this tournament, let me tell you that. And don't discount the possibility. Looking a little better for Fedor Gorst. He's 4-2 down now to Ron Kwok Wang. He's won the last couple of racks. Lucas Fracasso Werner in the hunt for maximising Mosconi Cup qualifying points. He's 2-2 with Alex Kazakis. Victor Zelinsky, what a fine player. Great potter. 4-0 up on Kwopo Cheng. Chang Yulong. Well, he's all over Konrad Yuzhushin. 7-0. He had a couple of thumping victories at the Florida Open last week as well, and had it not been for that scratch on the 3 in the hill battle he had with Shane Van Boning, he would have been in the final. Max Lettner and Johan Schur, predictably a tight one, that 5-5. And that lingering last 32 match continues on. Matikainen and Van Leerup still in their 17th and deciding rack.
Yeah, and touching on Duong and Gorst. As soon as you said 4-0 down, all I'm thinking is Saudi Arabia last year. He's down every match. Comes back and wins the tournament. Thank you, Carl Boys, for the coffee.
Yeah, he was 7-0 down, wasn't he, in one match? Also when he won that 9-ball championship. To Iraq's Amir Ali. And I'm led to believe that after his really good run at this year's World Championship, Ali is contemplating trying to play more international events. Well, that would be great because he's a really good player.
Yeah, hopefully we can see more of him. He was noted as the highest Fargo rating. Obviously, probably a little skewed. Trying to get behind the 9 here, maybe. All right, just played it off the 5, crashed into the 9, no fear.
Jag Yulong on the hill against Konrad Yuzhushin in 30 minutes. Last year, at the age of 16, he got to the last 16 of the Scottish Open, the Jacoby Scottish Open. Good field there as well, of course. That's the event north of the border in the UK that precedes the UK Open. We've talked about his junior success, and now he's making inroads in the pro game.
This is really the first time I've got to call him. We've obviously watched him from a distance, or I have, but I am just taking it all in, really. His pace around the table, much quicker than I realized, unless his heart rate's just up now. But I think this is probably about his normal pace, which is fairly quick. That's great, because his cueing doesn't look quick.
Well, when he beat Biardo, he knocked in a 6-ball from mid-distance with loads of running side for shape, and that was in the clinching rack, and I thought if you can do that under that kind of pressure, you can do pretty much anything.
Yeah, and he does it pretty quickly, too.
Felix Vogel, 2-1 up on Moritz Neuhausen.
My goodness. And he's got a powerful break. It's not like the one is just barely creeping to the side. He's made 3. With a look on the 2. What I see so far, he definitely has the firepower and the talent.
Yeah, to get to the top in this game, you can't fudge it. You can't be a player who's got half of the attributes. You need them all.
Just draw over. I think you can miss the 9 here. Just stay low of the right side. You don't have to try and do anything extra special. The 6 takes you to the 7. A little quick in the final takeaway. The final takeaway was just a bit snatchy. Nothing major.
And again, as he was at the tail end of that very disjointed second rack, he's been a little lucky.
Yeah, and the Moritz of old might be shaking his head right now. Didn't see any of that. Good signs for him.
So we mentioned Chang's whitewash of Konrad Jujushin, and the significance to this is that Chang awaits the winner of this match in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I don't know what you do here. I don't think we're going to look at the overhead. I don't think there's enough to just kick and stick. He'd be thrilled to put in a side rail to side rail here. There is value to that. A lot of players overlook it at times. If you can get enough of it, I think you've just got to lay him up, or at least do your best. It's not always that easy. All right, is he looking at somehow crashing into the 8 here? Played something similar earlier. He played the 7 off the rail towards the 8 to the upper right. Missed it by some distance. He's young, but can you play the 8 from here? It's always really dangerous to me. Maybe it was kind of a backdoor plan. If he didn't get him behind the 7, he thought, I might fluke the 8. Taking a lot of time here. Probably trying to set himself down just a bit. Knows the value. Trailing 2-1. Something bothering him. You don't have to pound this. Just nice and smooth, stun out to the right. Very good. Promise you it didn't roll off.
On the right approach, Neuhausen. As Scott so rightly said, he's got intensity. He's also got lots of dedication. He approaches the game in exactly the right way. And he's clearly thirsty for success. He's played quite a bit of pool today after that 9-8 win over Albert Janawata. It's 2-all here. Luong Doc Tien.
Oh, the one just high, maybe a bit thick there, it looked like. Definitely wasn't bad in the rack department. 9 didn't move a muscle. There was a little motion from Moritz. Not thrilled with that result. But it sounded a little mishit-ish. This is natural to the two. Big shot here. Maybe a little quick at times, but he's young. Yeah, it's getting away from him. And when I say quick, I'm more talking about the pace around the table. A lot of times players really work on the pace being consistent around the table. That's got a lot to do with your timing. I include timing as pace around the table, right? If you get fast once, slow the next, where do you start? Where do you begin? Where do you start? Where do you finish? Yeah, I would consider here now, once again, I would consider the 7 and 4 are big balls. You don't have to win right now. Just a thought. There's nothing wrong with this.
Just to put you in the picture about the length of the races here. First to 9 in the last 16 and the quarterfinals. It expands to first to 11 in the semi-finals later on this evening, and then a race to 13 final for the $20,000 first prize. $10,000 to the runner-up. This is a big tournament.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely a big tournament. 20,000 up top. You don't see it a lot, especially in a ranking event. You're not seeing it. Not yet, anyway. So this is it. All right, just watch the upper left corner here if you catch it thin in the back. Yeah, it's all over there. He needed to catch it a little bit thinner. These side pockets a little more forgiving than the majors, but not a lot. You cannot catch either knuckle going in.
I think Neuhausen, he knows the game of Felix Vogel really well. He won't be rushing on shots. He'll be trying to break up the youngster's rhythm. Well, he missed the 2, but as Scott explained, it might look easy on your screens. That was not.
Really good point, though, that you just brought up, actually, trying to break up Felix's rhythm. I was about to say that Moritz is not a slow player by any means. As a matter of fact, we'd probably categorize him as a quicker player. Interesting that he's taken a little bit more time. Might recognize the pace of Felix Vogel.
Yeah, I'm not so sure, about game plans. I think you should treat every match as though you're going to play naturally, but sometimes there is an obvious game plan. Not very often, but occasionally, especially if you know your opponent's game inside out.
Yeah, and it could. You're right, absolutely. You typically just want to go in with what you do and what you know. Could also be the gravity of the situation. Could be that they had a couple of scratchy games. Could be anything, right? But I do think what you said carries a little weight. All right, similar to the 7-ball kick he had a couple of games ago where he caught it thin, came around table and got a little lucky. Really needs the same thing here. He has to come to the second rail. Actually, Phil, I like what he was doing there. If he catches it thin and doesn't get the double kiss, he's probably got cover. Maybe the side pocket in the way for the second rail.
Doesn't matter what game plan you've got. Ultimately, you've got to pop the ball. And there is congestion here. Plenty of spheres to avoid. Found the gap.
Five does play to the lower right. If you're on the right side of the table, you just got to get good on the 4. Obviously, the 5 plays in the lower left as well. Nice and tight stroke there. Getting close to the 4. Oh, he's falling perfect to come back.
Good cumin, Moritz Neuhausen. Snooker is massively popular in Germany, thanks to Eurosport. I think it's the most watched sport on Eurosport in Germany. Their commentator, who actually retired last year, Rolf Kalb, he's a real celebrity out there. And it's one of those things, they play a big event every year in Berlin called the German Masters, and it's absolutely packed out at a simply terrific venue called the Tempodrome. But as yet, no real world-class German player has emerged. Whereas, of course, in pool, such a wonderful history of great players. Oliver Ortmann, Ralph Souquet.
Ortmann was one of my favorite players to watch.
Yeah, Joshua Filler, Thomas Engert had success, and now the new generation are trying to follow suit. Of course, Filler is still very much at the top of the game right now. And he's back in action on the WNT Tour next week at the US Open. Three-two, and you have to wonder, is experience starting to tell? And And that is the kind of break you crave. The one in the side, the two over the pocket, three open, everything's open. 5 and 6 might pose a problem or two, but it's nothing too severe. Johan Schur on the hill against Lechner, 8-5.
Yeah, pretty nice. I think he can stay level here. The punch, he might got a little steeper than he'd have liked, but it looks like he can stay level. It's got to settle. Steep, real steep.
Yeah, as soon as we saw the break-off, I identified the shape on the 5 as being perhaps the problem ball, but at least he's got the hook.
Yeah, so you got to ask yourself, even right there, I know the 5 was playable to the upper left. It was just steep. Would Felix just lock his opponent up behind the 6? Got to assume he would.
Little more distance between Duong Quoc Wang and Pedal Gorst. 6-3 to the Vietnamese star.
Yeah, and Duong obviously real comfortable in this environment, this equipment. 9-0 versus the Slayer, Lee Van Corteza. It's obviously saying something. Well, this is probably going to finish okay. And it did.
You were telling me, Scott, that Duong against Lee Van Corteza had 7 break-in runouts.
Yes, this is what I've been told by 2 very credible sources. Now that could still be untrue, but I did not see it, Phil, so I should probably not back it up. But listen, when you win 9-0, you've got to do something pretty good, right? 7 in a row is a lot. That would actually be probably the highest break-in runoff we've had in a long time.
Oh, so 7 break-in runouts in a row.
From what I understand, John Francisco was just telling me this. John Francisco hangs out with him, doesn't manage, but he's with Moritz. Everybody knows John. Look at this play. Really, really like it. Feeling good when you can just lay that up. Now, do you come behind the 7? It's a big ball to get behind. Favorable bump, but always in the right direction. John Francisco out of New York. Great player in his own right. Good friend of Jeremy Jones's.
Yeah, he's the guy who came back from 3-0 down to beat Andy Goldstein in the US Open last year. 8-3. That was after Goldstein had lost 9-0 to Ralph Souquet, who did not give him, as we say in England, the drippings off his nose.
So many phrases from over there that you guys use. One-liners.
Well, this isn't a phrase, it's a fact. Johan Schur is through. He's beaten Max Lechner 9-5.
Yeah, big win there. That could have gone either way. Needs full contact here. Oh, this is great. Last couple of hits here. Tell me Moritz really feels good. Let him see a piece, though. Can he see all of it? If he can, he might take this to the left side. Got a lot of cover that we can use with the 8-9. He just pointed to the side with his cue. See what he does. Yeah, I think this is smart. Very smart. Okay, he's trying to come behind the 5. You're going to have to swerve out just a little bit here to get deep behind it. I think the right long rail's taken off. Taken away. The green 6. 2 rails behind the 5 now. You want to put a little something on this to get the distance. It's left him thin. Real thin. Is he looking to bank this? Sure is. Watch the cue ball to the upper right. That would be chilly. He's lost it.
Chilly Willy. Wow. Things like that have such a big effect on a match. It was a really well played bank with a really destructive side effect. For the first time, it looks as though one of the players is going to take a 2-rack advantage. And the gentleman in question is called Neuhausen.
Yeah, I know there's been a couple of scrappy games, but he, in certain areas, just telling me how good he really is feeling right now.
Yeah, good, and I think he's getting better. That's the thing. He's got that upward career curve, hasn't he? Very similar to Fedor Ghost, just totally invested in what he's trying to do. Win.
Yeah, a lot of similarities there, and look here. You could say at times the balls know who's playing better or who's winning because he's got the gap. He can flick the 2 in. I don't know if he can avoid the 6, but if he can, the window between the 6 and 9 is great. You could just track straight to the 9. There's nothing wrong with that either, especially if you're using an outside ball. Just hard to tell. And that's what he's looking at now. Long stretch. Thin hit here. He's not going to use a ton of speed, I wouldn't assume. A little surprised he hit it so firm. Common for a rotation player to do, but figured he might just swerve it in there a bit more. 8-9 now. Looks to be a little tied up. It's close. And pretty flat here. This is one you could pinch to the lower jaw.
In terms of pure cueing, I think one of the best spots we've seen in the match.
Yeah, without question. Trying to come down below the 6 here. I think that went awry on him just a bit. Can't imagine he was trying to catch the 5 with the 4 there. So he got away with one. Big time, really. I mean, coming off the 5 with the 4 there is pretty fortunate to end up in this position. How about this shot from the young man? From absolutely nowhere.
He's exuberant, he's excellent. And I think even when he faces a deficit, it doesn't seem to faze him.
Yeah, and to back it all up, right? If it just comes a little bit short, he's got the 8-9 for cover. He used a high inside kill stroke on that. Pretty high IQ to play that ball.
Talented beyond his years, isn't he? And also, not just talented. I think he's got that poise. You can just tell. You can't really quantify it, but it's just a feeling. He's got that poise around the table that marks him out as someone who's going to have a really big future.
Yeah, similar to maybe Josh Filler when he was 13, 14 years old, right? They've both got that air of confidence. And I will compare him to somebody like Josh Filler, 17 years old, making certain tables look like they're cupcakes. It's just crazy how much talent this kid has. Is he looking to pound towards these 2 balls? I feel like you're real safe if you just get behind the 8. You can wedge him up behind the 9. Is he going to stay in front of him? Watch out. Oh, he's narrowly escaped that.
One of those horrible shots, Scott, you don't really experience too often.
Yeah, and it's a yucky feeling, too, to catch the point. You just don't know what's going to happen. I thought he would draw out of that with a low outside ball and just track to the left side of the table, and then he could really try and manipulate something with the 8 there, but none of that went. Now, I don't think the kiss is on. He's not going to take it. He's elevating, so he's going to cross this. Played it really well. Really well, knowing if he misses it short, it could finish right.
What a big rack this is. What a big rack. I think if Neuhausen were to win it and get to 5-2, then all of a sudden you start thinking, yes, he's got the capabilities of pulling away. But after a shot like that, it's going to be 4-3, surely.
Elevating. Wants to punch out in front of the 9 here, I guess. All right.
Shane van Boning carrying on his merry way, 3-0 up on Jan van Leeuwen. And that's your updated scores.
He needs the 2 to cooperate. I don't know that it's going to. Be shocked if he jumped at this. couple issues with it, though. The first is, if you did jump at it, I think the cue ball's tracking the left. The red 3 is next on the bottom end of our screen. It is near the 8.
Zielinski beat Kwopo Cheng 9-3, so he provides the quarterfinal opposition for Johan Chua.
And maybe looking to roll out behind the 5 here. Does give him a better line with the cue ball if he does receive the rollout. Pretty clever there, right? Recognizes that if he's forced to take the jump, at least he'll have a look at the 3-8 combination if he can bury it. Moritz paying attention as well. Gives it back. Pretty clever. I like what he did. Odds are probably against him slightly here. Said slightly, Phil.
Well, I agree with you. He made it look preposterously easy. Didn't even wiggle or jangle around in the jaws. Just straight in.
Yeah, he stuck the cue ball right there. The 8, a big ball. Hard to miss this combination. You just want to stay for the 3. Might come back and forth, up and down. He didn't want to catch the 9, but maybe he did.
Well, 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 what a bonus. What a bonus and annual edition of this excellent World Nineball Tour ranking event from Wolf's Den in Roanoke, Virginia. Oh, and look at that. The golden break. We've seen a few of those today on this table. Next, Chang having been the first player into the quarterfinals with a 9-0 win over Konrad Yuzhushin. So after the golden break from Felix Vogel in rack 9, he would love to repeat. But lightning doesn't strike twice. In fact, it's just the opposite.
Yeah, really odd there. Maybe just a miss hit. The 9 come up. The 2 stayed right there. You don't see that very often. Obviously had to have got flicked just a little bit. I didn't see whether it was on the corners or the back. Just so people are aware with that as well. So the 9 obviously is racked on the spot. They're talking about moving the rack. But the 2 ball is randomly racked in the back, but it's on either wing or the back. And they have to rotate it, or they try. I don't know that I'd mess with this, Phil.
Yeah, it does seem rather intricate, the operation, doesn't it?
This is where we could use Marcel Eckert.
Well, I know that he flew from Orlando to Atlantic City yesterday, so he's there. He will be in place. The German referee, the lead referee for the US Open beginning on Monday. Ben Taylor will be there as well. John Lehman. So all of the top officials will congregate.
I think it's extremely major. It's not like the 9 is wired. But Moritz does have a look at the 1. Felix is laughing.
By the way, while I do this, it's a 7-hour time difference. Quite late at night over in Jeddah in Saudi Arabia, where the Saudi Arabia Snooker Masters is built to an unbelievable crescendo. Neil Robertson and Ronnie O'Sullivan have gone 9-9 in the final. It's Hill for a first prize of £500,000.
Bill is sweating it.
In that match, Ronnie O'Sullivan made his 1,300th century in professional competition.
It's absolutely incredible. Oh, and so is this. I really like getting behind the two here. Really like it. Great hit. Even better if he catches a piece of the two there, but he'll work with this. Don't think Felix is going to like this.
You see, he's done there what Albert Januata didn't do at a crucial stage of their match this morning. He's absolutely locked him up. Whereas Januata played a quite a sloppy snooker at 8-7, and it really cost him dear. But I was saying, I did the match with Frank, and I was saying that kind of mistake, that's when you learn.
I was just going to say, I'll bet he doesn't do that again. If he does, it's not intentional.
By the way, Shane Van Boening is on a different planet at the moment. He's 6-0 up on Jan van Leeuwen.
And then what's going on with Wong?
Well, Gorst is fighting back. He was 8-3 down. It's now 8-5. As we saw the ball there that got Gorst over the line in his previous match. He would love something like that.
Yeah, this is very difficult.
So difficult, he's booked into the last resort, playing a deliberate foul. But why has he done that, Scott?
Yeah, I think at the last minute, maybe the cue went off in his hands a little bit. I think he was just trying to lay it up below the 8. You got to imagine he was just laying that below the 8, and it kind of went off in his hands just a bit.
As far as deliberate foul shots go, that's one of the worst you'll ever see. That's like a pro golfer missing a 6-inch putt.
Yeah, he did Moritz a pretty big favor, actually. Now this is short. Can he hold? Does not want to have to go up around the 7. I think he can. Pretty natural if he has to go up around the 7. Here it looks like he can hold, though. Might go back and forth. That's okay. Yeah, he's bent the cue ball off the first rail. Yeah, can you tell me what's going on with Duong Quoc Wong and Fetter Gorst? I just saw Duong in the bathroom.
Yeah, still Duong on the hill, 8-5. It was 8-3, so Gorst is trying to dig himself out of quite a deep hole. Shane Van Boening now 7-0 up on Jan van Leeuwen. Van Leeuwen obviously had very little time between matches after beating Casper Matikainen in the last match to be completed in the last 32. But Van Boening, over the course of the last 2 weeks, has played some unbelievable 9-ball. I thought he was the best player collectively in the Florida Open, even though he didn't win it. If you put all of his performances together in terms of quality, he was the best there. And he's been the best here.
Yeah, there's no question. There's just no question. One thing here that you can relate to with Shane Van Boening is During all of his career in money matches playing rotation, he would request a 4.5-inch pocket. Now, obviously, grew up on a bar table, one of the best players, if not, I think the best bar table player to ever live, probably the best rotation player to ever live, to our point. But going from the Florida Open to this event, I think it's just really loosened him up.
Now, this is at the distance where there is just a slight chance it could be missed. But in the end, it was no chance. Pick 'em.
Yeah, and you touched on it a few games ago. It just feels like it could go to the wire.
It is, though, a marathon day of pool for these guys. And as we said, Neuhausen was in this morning early. I arrived just after 8 o'clock. He was practicing. If he goes all the way, that's a gargantuan effort.
Yeah, you know who that also sets up for, right? Shane Van Boening.
Well, he was here at around 10 o'clock before he was due to play, I think, an hour or so later. Yeah. Dedication Central. He is.
He's taking a look at the purple 4. So will we. It does not pass. This is tough enough as it is. The backhand has to be steady here. You do not want any movement. Typically, you'll hit this thin. Back arm wants to come out from underneath you. He's going away from it now. I think it's a veteran move, whether he gets here or not on the shot. I still think the decision was right. He was just quick to it.
And there is a clear path to the 2 to knock it in. The 3 close to the side pocket. Doesn't mean to say it's going to be easy, but like precise position on the 3 where it is, especially considering the complexities with 4 being so close to the 6. And the Appalachian Mountains, Shane Van Boening is on the hill again at 8-0. And Jan van Leeuwen, he's a monster.
He did have a match, you said, at 11 a.m. this morning, Phil, right?
Yeah, I'll just check that out.
Yeah, so last night, Shane beat Lee Van Cortez in 9-0 here on the TV table. We can only imagine what he's doing over there right now versus Van Leeuwen.
Actually, it was at 1 o'clock, so he came in 3 hours early. He beat Lo Lee Wen, his first match today, 9-4.
Oh, look at this hit. He deserves to be paid off here. Yeah, so he came in 3 hours early, knowing how long this day is going to be. That's what Shane does.
Well, he'll have a rest if he sees off Jan van Leeuwen quickly, because his next opponent will be either Aloysius Schaap or Luong Doc Tien. That match is only poised at 4-2 in favour of Luong at the moment.
I think Felix is struggling with himself right now, whether to play the bank or to use the 6 and 7, possibly the 8 and 9. He could cut this to the side and just backdoor safety if he doesn't happen to make it, but it doesn't really work like that when you're going to the side pockets. That's what it looks like he's going to do. Yeah, it just doesn't seem to work out when it's thin to the side, more often than not, Phil.
Yeah, always heading towards that far jaw, and that's the death knell. There's no way they're going to go. No way.
You talk about thin. Can he go to the upper left corner here? Yes, he can. You just want to keep off the 9 here. Don't punch out too hard. You want to float this or smooth this in. Oh, so clean right there. A hit like that can really set you off. As soon as I say that, Phil, the decel.
Yeah, that was a massive misjudgment, wasn't it? Nowhere at all.
Believe me, he was not playing for there. Might have found the gap. Might have found the gap. Upper right pocket available.
Does he fancy it? Yes, he does.
Wow. Oh my goodness, Felix Vogel.
Of course, the character Felix Unger was one of the stars in that great series, The Odd Couple. There's nothing odd about Felix Vogel's game. He's the real deal.
Yeah, it came from the decel, though, on the 5 to the 6 from Moritz Neuhausen. Played and made in game number 14, which he has just won. If he comes back to win that match, I really hope that shot's clipped. I know Frank has it on camera. I just saw it. So if he happens to come back and win that match from that kick shot, you'll understand what I'm saying.
Multiple balls in. Not the best on the 2, but we've seen his length of table banking skills already. You don't have to force the issue, though. You don't want to be too ambitious.
Yeah, 17 years old. He's thinking, why not? Let's just win now. But in the long run, it's not always going to do you well. Ah, very mature. Is he short? Very mature play there.
By the way, the youngest ever winner of a snooker world ranking event was Ronnie O'Sullivan. He won the UK Championship in 1993 at the age of 17, the same age that Felix Vogel is now. Well, O'Sullivan was beaten in the final of the Saudi Arabia Masters 10-9 by Neil Robertson.
Oh.
Robertson making an 87 break under extreme pressure in the decider to win just a small matter of around $650,000.
Well, I know you're slightly heartbroken, Phil.
No, I wouldn't say that because I'm a big advocate of Robertson as well. I was just very interested in the match.
Sure. I'm a big O'Sullivan fan, as big as they can get, really. I was fortunate enough to do a small show with him on the History Channel, and Ronnie and I got to know each other. He is such an interesting guy, and one-on-one, what a great guy he is. Just an absolute genius.
And let me tell you,
I loved him.
The gentleman who was with him on that show, Matt Smith.
I got to know him well.
What a great presenter he is.
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah. The entire crew was fit to be just wonderful people. We spent some time together. So I'll just say it, I was pulling for Ronnie, especially after what he had done. All right, you might want to come all the way down here. You don't want to get straight.
Is young Felix Vogel about to establish a degree of daylight?
He's got to get all the way over here, and he does not want to finish on the rail after this. Yeah, so you've either got to let up on this and not come to the second rail, we've got to pound it. The problem is he's only got a high ball. He's going to do okay. He's off the rail.
Sometimes youngsters have great talent, but they become overawed by situation, opponent, tournament, stakes. Doesn't seem as though that's the case with Felix Vogel. Not yet, anyway. We might see a little bit of arm freezing if he gets to the hill. But right now, he looks, I think, the stronger of the two players.
Yeah, and I just wonder what the viewers are thinking. I mean, it's taken me quite a while. When I was first coming up, I could never dream, or in my prime, never dream that there was 16 and 17-year-olds that played at this level. Now we're seeing it right before our very eyes.
Nineball pool is in a good place, and so is Felix Vogel. He leads 7-5. For the first time in the match, one of the players has got a 2-rack advantage. Wants to make it 3.
It's all the 5-ball in the upper left. Moritz Neuhausen comes short on the 6, played the safe, found the gap. Felix banked the ball in, ran out. He's been in control ever since, but that might stop now, Phil.
So what about the template here? The cue ball in the middle of it.
Yeah, and the 9 also. Can he go forward? Does it play to the upper right? Looks like it might. Yeah, difficult here. It's a big 8-ball as well. I just don't think the 8's really a problem. I think he'll fall forward with the cue ball. Yeah, a little thick there. If he catches it thinner, obviously the point probably not in play like it was there either.
Neuhausen grateful for that error. Shane van Boning is through, beating Jan van Leerup 9-1. His next opponent will be Luong Doc Tien or Aloysius Schaap. Currently, Luong leading 4-3.
And Shane just walked past us. He's going to go to the room, most likely. Take a rest.
So 4 of the 8 matches in this round are complete. The other 4 still up in the air. This match most certainly is.
Yeah, and the Gorst match just looks crazy to me. Every now and then Frank has it up on his screen. I keep peeking over and Federer's in a funny spot, and then he's got Duong in a real bad spot. Okay. Wong Kwok Wong on the hill, up 8-6, playing the 8 into the lower left corner. It's definitely not automatic. He's made the 8, but he's flicked the 9, so now a little awkward. I think he'll bury it.
Wong Kwok Wang has defeated Fedor Gorst 9-6. So the WNT rankings number 1 is out. But Moritz Neuhausen is not out yet.
Well, not really than we thought, Phil. We kind of had a backdoor idea.
Yeah, we hoped, I should say. Well, the ones in, the 2 not greatly helpful. Nice spread on the balls, though.
Yeah, you can't imagine he's going to take this on. He's looking to use the 7 here. Just making sure he doesn't hit the 6 or something like that with the 2. Might even shoot it all the way over like he's banking it. Try and catch the gap between the 9 and 4. Draw the cue ball back between or behind, the 7. Just didn't want to hit the 6. He's done well there. Yeah, can he swerve around the 7? The top of the side pocket, is it enough to get into the 2? Looks like it. He's not happy about it, didn't want the kiss. If he avoids the kiss, there's big snooker options.
Well, so many balls at the centre of the table, and yet they are not covering. The gap is there. A clear path is there for Vogel. Aloysius Yap has just drawn level with Luong Duc Tien at 4-4. What a blockbuster match that would be, Yap against Van Boning in the quarterfinals.
Just kind of framed at it here. What's the 3 going to do? It's going to spoil the party, I believe. Yeah. Can wedge him up underneath it. Felix feeling froggy. You can play it to the upper right. I think underneath it's the way. It's one way to do it, Phil.
Excellent. Takes away an awful lot of escape routes.
Yeah, the problem is if you try to go to the side rail here, you're elevated. Can he pinch down on it, maybe? I think he can. Shorten the cue ball up here. Yeah, you can definitely dig into the cue ball. He's going to bend it. It's not going to pay off.
A very inviting table layout for Felix Vogel to potentially get on the hill.
He got that one thick as well. I believe it was the purple 4 he missed to the upper right. No, excuse me, it was the 2 that he missed the upper right thick. Got Moritz back into this. I believe this has become a road map.
Just thinking, you know, if he gets through, he will play Chang Yulong in the next round. Chang, comfortably old enough to be his father. It will be the generation game, that one. Not over the line yet. But surely he's going to be 2 ahead with 3 to play.
Plays a lot off instinct, doesn't give himself time to really think about stuff going wrong.
8-6 it is.
Yeah, this is a very big break off for Vogel. Yeah, you can't ask for much more. He's got a great look at the 2. I think he can just stun down to the bottom rail and up. Looks a little steeper than we think, I think. Yeah, so he's going to have to work the cue ball for sure. There is work to the 4 if you get on the 3. He's looking to the right side of the table. What about the gap between the 6 and 8? That carries you to the 4, maybe even better. You're just trying to track around 3 rails above the 9?
What a big moment for him. He knows with 1 or 2 shots that provide shape, he could be on the way to another cracking victory. All the way round.
Oh, it's falling perfect, Phil.
Scott, you're a good eye for talent. Impressed?
I'm highly impressed. I think he's a little quick around the table, but it's hard to say anything like that. He's 17 years old, right? So I'm highly impressed.
Yeah, he's a bundle of energy. But what I like about him is that, and I hope he doesn't disprove my theory here, what I like about him, he doesn't seem as though he's in danger of falling victim to nerves.
Yeah, you're saying he finishes well. We're about to find out. But it looks to be like you are correct, because the shot that he just made on the 2 was all-star stuff.
In snooker, for many years, my mentor, Clive Everton, he termed players who've had problems getting over the line, he said they had clincher's disease. He's not got clincher's disease.
Oh, a little rub on the 6 might even help. Don't believe that was by design, but he will take it. I don't think it passed the 8 in the side. Is he steeper than what we think here? He doesn't typically take too much time. Well, that'll do it, Phil. What a stroke and what a touch.
Unbeaten here. He's beaten the likes of Carlo Biardo, the reigning world 9-ball champion. He's beaten Lucas Fracasso-Werner, a Mosconi Cup candidate for the USA. He's beaten Huang Nam Pham. And now, surely, he is going to beat the Premier League pool champion of 2025, Moritz Neuhausen. 17 years of age, Felix Vogel. V for Vogel. And after this 9-ball, it's going to be V for victory. A terrific teenage talent into the quarterfinals at the Battle of the Bull. Felix Vogel does defeat Moritz Neuhausen by a score of 9 racks to 6.